Doug works better, actually. I get Mr. Woodruff too much in court as it is. Dean, I want to thank you for putting this event together, and I don't know if I should thank these guys for showing up or not. You guys, I mean, it's coming out on a night like this, it's just awesome. And I would be remiss if I didn't send my wife's regrets out. She is at her mother's starting Thanksgiving dinner as we speak. I think they're working on the turkey right now. She wanted to be here, but her mother turned 83 this year, and some things are more important than politics. You know, I was looking over the 15 core beliefs of the Tea Party today as I was thinking about this meeting tonight, and they're so relevant. I mean, think about it. We are spending, I say we, Washington is spending our children into bankruptcy. The concept of a balanced budget is foreign outside the state of Georgia. The federal government is intruding more and more into our lives, and it's not just the NSA, but now it's the Affordable Care Act. And think of all of the privacy concerns that go along with that. I want to talk a little bit more about privacy in a minute. Our traditional family values are eroding before our eyes, and last but not least, gun ownership seems to be under constant attack. And although I'm not much of a hunter, I like small game hunting. Squirrel hunting, but not with a shotgun, right? It's got to be with a rifle or it's not a challenge. I am a gun lover, and I won't tell you the combination to my safe because I don't want to lose any of my guns. I am thankful that we live in a state that has a balanced budget, and a state which, for the most part, protects our rights and cares about us, for the most part, especially compared to other states in the Union. My brother came to visit not long ago. He lives in Washington State, and he left and just shaking his head, and he was like, "You are so lucky to live in Georgia." And I agree with that, but we must be ever vigilant to keep what we have and expand on it. My folks moved down to Center Grove, which is over near Rock Spring, in 1966. I was 3 years old, the youngest of 4 kids. And both of my parents were school teachers, and I gotta say, God-fearing folks that instilled the same in us kids. And they actually homeschooled us before that was cool. This would have been back in the late 60s, early 70s. My wife and I now live up close to Naper's Grocery in the Peavine, with Burning Bush area, and have been here. I've been here my entire life when I haven't actually been away to school. My wife, who I've been married to almost 22 years now, is a nurse practitioner and is the manager of the neonatal ICU in Dalton at Hamilton Medical Center, and she's been doing that for many years. Public service is something that is important because what you want in your leaders are what I like to refer to as servant leaders, because you don't want somebody who is just a dictator. We experience a lot of that here recently with our executive orders coming from the hallowed one in Washington, and that's not what we want. You want a servant leader, someone who has a proven track record of actual service. For me, that goes back many years. In the mid to late 80s, joined the volunteer fire department. Somewhat thankless job, but kind of exciting for a young man. I'll never forget the first time I was in a house when something called a flameover happened. And you're in the room and suddenly you hear the sound and you look up and it's nothing but fire over you. And it does give you pause there for a minute. From there I went to the Sheriff's Department. I was a dispatcher, a jailer, and also a deputy sheriff under the late Al Millard here in Walker County. Did that for 3.5 years in the early 90s, and it was that got me interested in the law. And in July of '93, I went to the University of Georgia, attended the law school there, graduated in '96, and have been a lawyer ever since. But I've not been your traditional private attorney raking in the big bucks, because since the year 2000, I've either been a prosecutor in the DA's office, or currently I'm the chief assistant in the public defender's office. And when you think about that, I would submit to you that I'm the only candidate who's actually litigated and been in the trenches defending the very constitutional rights that we really care about. It is on a regular basis that I am in our superior courts litigating Fourth Amendment, Fifth Amendment. I was in a Sixth Amendment hearing today, but that's a different story for a different day. These are such core issues, and unless you have been in the trenches, you don't understand how frequently they are under attack. You're going to hear this from all of us. We're all in favor of the Second Amendment. We're all in favor of tax reform and smaller government, all of these things that are sort of the mantra. This is a conservative area. So what I want to talk to you about is what I bring to the table that is unique. And there are a couple of personal qualities that I bring that I think are unique. I'm a good listener. Having been an attorney for almost 18 years now, and much of that having been either as a prosecutor now as a public defender, I do a lot of listening. And this is important because your representative in Atlanta will not know what you think and will not know what you need unless they're able to hear from you and listen to you. So you need someone who actually cares enough to pause and talk to you and listen. And the listening is more important than the talking part of that. I'm a very thoughtful decision maker. I have been blessed with leadership positions in my church. I've had 2 terms as the chairman of the Board of Trustees, and was honored to be informed pretty much that I was going to be the chair of the Finance Committee beginning January 1. I think that's going to be a real challenge in today's economy. But I'm honored by that, and I hope that what that tells you, because y'all don't know me well, I hope that what that tells you is coming from people that do know me well, that I'm trustworthy, and I have good judgment, and I am thoughtful in the decisions that I make. I have a tremendous amount of experience reading the law, and that's important because when you're writing legislation, guess who's going to be attacking that legislation down the road? Lawyers, right? And that's something unique that I bring to the table here. And in that same thread is that I'm a talented writer. One of the things that I have to do on a fairly regular basis is prepare appellate briefs that go either to the Court of Appeals in Atlanta or to the Georgia Supreme Court. And it is a unique style of writing. It has to be very precise, very persuasive. And it's the same style of writing that lends itself to the actual drafting and construction of legislation. One of the things that you need to have as a skill in the legislature is the ability to build a consensus. Now, this is not simply going along with the buddy. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is taking a core belief and then building a consensus of other legislators around this core belief so that you can actually make something happen. I think that's very important. And in order to do all of these things, you have to not only have the background so that you know what needs to be done for our local community, because bringing it back here is what it's all about for your representatives. You have to be able to understand the issues, make the right decision, having had all the information. And then when you take this, build this consensus, and then be a zealous advocate. And if you learn nothing else being a litigator in front of a judge with opposing counsel and 12 jurors staring at you, you learn to be a fearless, zealous advocate. And you learn to think before you speak. You learn to not just go off half-cocked because you're very aware that there's a court reporter over there. The most important thing, though, is that you need someone who is going to resist the urge to grow government. Because in the midst of all the things that are going on, government has this inherent desire to grow. And you need someone down there who will resist the urge to grow government. And I am that. It is humbling to have this opportunity, should I be elected, to serve you in the House. And it is my distinct honor to ask for your vote in this special election. Thank you.
All righty, thank you, gentlemen. We're going to give the candidates just a minute to catch their breath, and in the meantime,